Hi there, Sherry Rockwell here from nutritionwisdom.ca. So I just felt inspired in this moment to record a video and talk about affirming your health. I was just looking over my master gratitude list, which I basically created to help me to every single day affirm what I do have on one master sheet. And then I have my little gratitude journal on the side where when other good things happen, I write them down and I consciously take the time to be thankful for these things. And that's really, really important for keeping your mind focused on in a positive frame of reference in no matter what's going on in your life. There's always, good things, no matter how stressful life can become. The fact that you have air to breathe or a roof over your head or clean water to drink. Those are things that we can be thankful for. And as I was looking at my gratitude list, the first thing on it are the words, I am healthy. And I was looking at some of the other things that I have on my list. There's some things that I affirm that I don't necessarily feel like are actually real, fully manifested right now in my life, but I'm still affirming them and using the language that is stopping my subconscious mind from saying that's not true. So I wanted to actually bring this up in the topic of health and to give you some affirmation. If you're struggling right now with a health challenge and you have anxiety and fear around that health challenge, I think this will really help you. So number one is to affirm that maybe you don't feel like you're healthy right now. So if you were to have affirm that or have gratitude or write down I am healthy, a part of your mind would just say that's not true, right? And then you just have that negative voice in your head, and obviously that does not make you feel better. The reason I wanted to talk about this was because I do remember also a time in my life where I was not well. I had mono, and obviously that's not a serious condition, but it's pretty intense. Like people do take a couple years out of their life and, lie in bed. And I didn't have that experience. I literally was able to heal myself using natural medicine and switching to a whole foods diet and also some energy medicine in an entire year. So within 2 weeks of starting this, I felt 75% better and I never missed a day of work. So, but leading up to this point, I knew that I was sick, but I didn't know what I had, right? So I went into a total state of paranoia around being sick. So I had myself convinced that I either had AIDS or cancer, okay? So I was only 19, 20 years old, and it was really scary for me. Like I remember making, deals with God. Like, oh, if I could just live, 10 years, I would do this, I would do that, right? And I was really scared. Like I thought, I might not have 10 years. I might not be able to get married and have a family and all this kind of stuff. And so even though that's not what was happening, because I believed that I had that serious of a disease, I feel like I can relate to people who are in those situations and do feel sick, because I truly had to get control of my mind. Because even once I knew that I had mono, because I had wired myself for fear around these other diseases, and then because there's some research that shows a connection between mono and cancer and or the Epstein-Barr virus, I just was scared. Like I just was focusing on the fear and had to change that around. So here's what I did. I spent every single moment that I wasn't at work. I was an esthetician at the time, so I worked a 9-to-5 job during the daytime. So all evenings and weekends were spent either in coffee shops or cafes or libraries studying everything I could about health. Okay, so my entire focus was not on disease, but on health. Absolute focus. So if you want to be healthy, you have to turn into the station of health. You can't be on 2 stations at one time. So if you are, stuck in the medical paradigm where you're told you're a victim of your health, victim to disease, having a lack of health, and it's being, bombarded into you constantly, that you have no control, and the only options you have are drugs or surgery, right? So, I mean, that's the only thing on the menu. When you go to the medical practitioners, unfortunately, unless you have access to somebody who has an alternative perspective, and even then, a lot of times they can't even practice that with you because it's not part of, their scope of practice, right? Unless you're American, it seems that there's a lot more holistic doctors and they have more freedom to have their own type of practice. Anyways, but let's face it, if you don't have the consciousness to realize that in order to heal, you have to focus on health and not on the disease, then it's going to be really, really easy to be stuck in that fear and constantly be focusing on all the negative things that could happen. Okay. So the affirmation part, so there's two things I want to leave you with. The affirmation part is to literally affirm something that your mind is not going to say that's bullshit. Okay. So you could say, I am so grateful that each day I'm getting healthier, or I'm healthier than I was before, or each day I'm moving towards more and more health, or whatever words that you want to use. Because essentially that is something that it can't exactly be measured, right? So your mind isn't going to be able to tell you that's bullshit, because really you can easily be healthier tomorrow than you were today. Okay. And so the second thing is that this is the thing that to me makes the biggest difference. Like, because for a lot of people, when you have a health condition and you do have this consciousness of there's a different way, that health isn't simply just the absence of disease, but health is something that you cultivate, and you have to tune into the lifestyle and the diet and the mindset that actually gets you into a healing space and helps you to start to move towards healing. That, it doesn't happen necessarily overnight. So how do you trust that you are going to heal? Because you're right here and you don't know. And maybe you've been told that you have something incurable. Okay? Remember that pretty much every disease probably that's out there, you could find a story of somebody who cured themselves of the so-called incurable condition. So number one, go online, search how I healed myself naturally of, whatever disease. Okay? You're going to find all sorts of stories of people who've done that. And the best people to learn from are people that have been in your shoes and have healed themselves. Not experts necessarily. Not saying there isn't value in the knowledge of an expert, but somebody who's actually been through what you are experiencing, knows on an experiential level, and is going to have a lot more trust and faith that they can convey and impart to you. Okay. The second part of it is, okay, so if you're here and you're doing all these positive things in the direction of health and healing, but because we live in a physical world and things don't always manifest instantly, okay, other than if you actually use energy medicine, oftentimes healings can be instantaneous. So I highly recommend including energy medicine into your healing, your holistic approach to healing yourself. I know that was a big part of my process when I had mono. Every single month when I would go to, by about the end of the month, I would start to notice my vitality would start to go down. I would just start to feel more tired and just like a little bit run down. And then I would go see this energy healer. I was super young and I had no idea. I still don't even remember what the thing that she did was called. It seemed really cuckoo and woo woo to me at the time, but like intellectually, but it didn't matter because it worked. And I would see her and then I would literally, my vitality would go up. And then I needed to actually see her every single month for 1 year. And that was enough to get me to have my vitality stay up. So I absolutely believe in that. It's not just the physical. But here's the thing. So here you are. I keep on trying to give you this idea and then I get off track. Okay. So how do you keep the faith when you're here and you want to get to here, but you don't have the evidence quite yet of perfect health? So how do you stay in a positive frame of mind? Well, what you do is you acknowledge even the smallest shift of feeling better or healthier as a sign that you are moving in the right direction. Okay. So most of the time when we're in that state of having a disease that has been diagnosed and it's something that is considered incurable, or we're told that it kills people and will die. Okay, obviously that's the, you know, the worst case scenario that brings up the most fear, right? Okay, if death is here, let's just look at this straight in the eye. If death is here and perfect health is here, okay, and you're here, even if you're just moving this much towards your ultimate state of health, you're that much farther away from death. Okay. That is what kept me going when I was in that state, even though my condition wasn't nearly as serious as I imagined it was, and then even was paranoid that it could become or whatever. That is what kept me going, to focus on the little tiny improvements that I was experiencing in my health. And then I just continued to go in that direction. Okay. So that's the best advice that I can offer you from my own personal experience. And I guess you could say that that's the way to approach anything in life, where you're struggling, that even just a smallest improvement in the right direction is a sign to you that you are moving towards the goal that you're seeking to have, whether that's, like attaining, something you've always wanted to do in life, or a optimal health, or managing your money, putting money away for opportunities that you want to manifest in the future, whatever it is, whatever you're struggling with. Just the smallest little pieces of evidence that you're moving in the right direction. If you focus on that, then you're going to be oriented towards moving in the direction that you want. And then more opportunities are going to be opening up for you. And the final thing I just want to leave you with is synchronicity. If you feel totally lost, just ask God to show you a sign that you're moving in the right direction, okay? Or whatever you want to call God, the creator, the universe. Just ask for a sign. And sometimes just getting a sign when you're in that place can be just the thing to lift you up, to have the faith and hold in mind the outcome that you want to have when you can't do it on your own. So that is everything I wanted to say. I don't know why, I just felt like I needed to say that tonight, and I hope that this lands in on the screen of somebody who needs it. All right, have a good night. Bye-bye.